Also, I can't shake the feeling that the script is doing everything in its power to play down Peter Parker, like it's afraid the audience will somehow start rooting for him over Miles if he's shown to be too capable and confident. It doesn't even make any sense! The first movie portrayed him as an aging, burned out loser who only redeems himself at the end, while the second film morphs him into a bumbling, hapless father in a pink bathrobe.
I fucking hate you.
Who for some reason keeps taking his baby along on life-threatening adventures, despite having a perfectly capable mother at home to look after it.
You are not serious people.
Is this some weird attempt to mock and belittle the Spider-Man that most people know and love, who incidentally just happens to be the only straight white man in the entire movie?
It's kind of homophobic, man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, it just kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth, that's all.
You are bullshit. You're fucking bullshit.
What am I thinking of? Like it's like Chinese, I think.
Disney mostly and or Hollywood has this agenda, and it's the same agenda that you guys have. Yeah, Hollywood has an agenda. Yeah, Disney has an agenda, but you're wrong about the context. They want to make money. They're trying to play to every audience they can to make as much money as they can. And the more you talk about it, the more money they're making. Oh, they lost a ton because the marketing. No, they didn't. Not every movie markets a third of their budget. If they were shoving an agenda down your throat, they wouldn't have test screenings. They do run parallel to social messaging and what's going on in pop culture, but for the most part, they're trying to make money.
Why is there no straight pride? I hear this often, and the truth is the answer is quite simple. Where in our world is it illegal to be straight? The answer to that is nowhere. There's nowhere in the world where you could travel to and be persecuted for simply being straight. Now, how many countries is it illegal to be gay? Well, at least 64 countries have laws that make it illegal to be homosexual, and at least 11 of those you can be put to death. Trans people face being illegal in at least 37 countries in the world. Pride exists to show other parts of the world that expression and identity are important, valid, and appreciated. And if not, we have the freedom of speech and expression to speak out against these laws. Gay pride isn't just about being visible for straight people. It never has been. It's about sending a message to queer people all over the world that we will not be silenced. So next time you ask, why isn't there straight pride? The question you should actually be asking is, why does gay pride need to exist at all? In a perfect world, we wouldn't need to signal boost. So be a part of the change and not a part of the problem. Happy Pride Month.
Doctor.
Seems to give me a lot of energy.
You know, you look real good even from this angle.
I can think of better ways of keeping you up.
You're in the way.
I'm only here to offer you my services.
Last lunch, judge a bin to let it.
When the cast and crew arrived in Czechoslovakia, Lee was given a hero's welcome at the airport. This is when Moira began to learn about Lee having been a Nazi hunter, and how he was involved in the killing of Reinhard Heydrich.
Hi. Hello.
Well, yeah. Hello. Welcome.
To go into it.
Yeah. Welcome to the Organized Chaos podcast. This will be streaming on both the main Organized Chaos channel and the podcast channel. But after it's done streaming, you will only be able to find it on the Organized Chaos podcast channel. So if for some reason you need to watch it again, it is free. It is absolutely available to you. But you gotta go over to the Organized Chaos podcast channel. I have links all over the channel for it, and it will be right there for you, free to watch whenever you want. It's also available on most podcasting services if you just want an audio version. Also, make sure to like and subscribe and follow.
Yes, please. Like, comment, subscribe, follow. Please. We'd love to hear from you.
Algorithm. Yes, the algorithm things are good. We like the algorithm.
And don't just watch the first few minutes of it either. Watch the full thing. You know, we stagger our way through a lot of stuff. Mostly with a 95% success rate.
Yeah, to a degree. Yeah, it's almost a success. And what's amazing is that the podcast never has any technical issues. It's always seamless in every aspect.
Never.
This is
never.
I mean, we call it the best podcast in the history of the universe. and we only call it that because it's true. Like,
Our
there's
motto
no
here
better
is,
way to
fuck
describe
it,
this
we'll
podcast.
do it live.
Yes.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I'm Nick Fury. Even when I'm out, I'm in.
Can I come to your house tonight?
Sure. I don't have anything big planned, just a giant blowout party with all the Barbies and planned choreography and a bespoke song. You should stop by.
So cool.
A secret laboratory. Keep everyone there until it's done. Let's go recruit some scientists.
We're witches.
Is that so?
I guess we'll go live. I don't know. You want to go live? We can go live, I guess.
We can.
I don't know.
We certainly can.
I don't want to exhaust you. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Will you be okay?
I'll be
So
okay.
so Bobby had a medical issue. Everything's fine, but he's not gonna be able to make it for this one. So it's just gonna be myself and my daughter because she joined me on the Barbenheimer.
I did join him on the Barbenheimer.
The Barbenheimer was very exciting. It was everything we had ever hoped for.
It was truly seamless.
Yes. I mean the movie. Well, I guess do we want to just dive into the Barbenheimer? Because we're going to be talking about Barbenheimer, then we'll talk about Barbie and Oppenheimer separately. Although they're like the same movie.
Same movie, except
they're really
like
the same
Cillian
movie.
Murphy and Margot Robbie just like swap out roles.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Really, they're the same
They're
actor.
really the
so I don't
same
know how much it matters.
Movie. So I don't know why we would talk about them separately, but I guess we can. And then we'll talk about I'll talk about some Witcher season 3 that that's come out so far. So the Barbenheimer was kind of just an amazing experience. 2 movies released on the same day. Part of the same cinematic universe, of course. It was brilliant what they did with the Barbenheimer. And I wish my internet connection was a bit stronger right now. This is
just drag it out. We'll stall.
Yeah, we'll stall.
Barbenheimer was it starts with Barben.
Just loading up the picture. True. Thank you for going over how words work. That was amazing.
The term Barbenheimer actually refers to the act of setting pink dresses on hot air balloons that eventually explode when they are approximately 5,081 yards up into the sky. And
I will go with her read here.
I happen to be I happen to know these things. I have my sources. Just don't ask me about them. I'm too tired. I can't remember.
All right. But yeah, I think how these movies link together is actually kind of brilliant because what happened was so Barbie is kind of really the beginning of the whole thing. It's there's a Barbie land and then there's like the real world. And what happens in Barbie land happens in the real world. So obviously when the Kens band together and do a revolt, that's Nazis.
Yeah, that is how that.
And that's
Hitler
how come.
was born.
And the way we dealt with it in the real world was Oppenheimer, where we built the bomb and we fought the Nazis. So they sing together extremely well.
Yes, they do.
Perfectly, seamlessly. And I think tonally the movies are identical, really. No, I obviously we're being goofballs. These movies are so different. We didn't do like the Barbenheimer like one day.
We
pretty much because I worked the whole weekend, but yeah
we did it across 2 days.
Yeah, but it was we'll go into individual thoughts of the movie. Overall, like these are both really good movies, but they're so different. I will say like essentially like the meme of Barbenheimer was kind of brilliant promotion almost.
Yes, I think that listen, a Christopher Nolan movie was always going to be popular, but I definitely think that it boosted it up a little bit higher just because Barbie's already everywhere, you know?
That's the thing, like, I didn't
And
even...
Barbie ended up being more popular, so, like, I would not be surprised if that ended up doing kind of almost some promotion for Oppenheimer as well.
That's the thing, like, usually when there's counter-programming like this, it's, like, one or the other. Usually they're drastically different movies, obviously.
Yes.
And, you know, the idea is you do one for one demographic, one for another demographic. It's counter-programming, you know, lots of people go to the theater. And what kind of ended up happening with Barbenheimer is that, like, everybody said, let's do both.
Yes.
Which was kind of amazing.
We never choose.
But yeah, so yeah, they're both brain farting. But yeah, that was kind of the brilliant thing. Like, it just Barbenheimer became the meme, and kind of brilliantly, like, the studios rolled with it and made this like an actual, like, packed, like, both showings, both when we went to Oppenheimer and Barbie, were pretty packed. You had one empty seat next to you for Oppenheimer, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I did not have an empty seat next to me. That was it. Like, we were, other than that, like, it was pretty packed for both movies. They were both very, very, very popular and kind of awesome. Like I said, I enjoyed both movies. I would say almost they're very similar in quality, but, like, so different, just so different tonally, obviously. But yeah, I thought it was brilliant how they kind of incorporated the whole, like, Barbenheimer into the promotional material, honestly, and they rolled with it. But yeah, it was it's a good, I don't know if it works as a double feature, frankly, but, like, they're both good movies. We saw one on Saturday and one on Sunday. I guess, do we want to just roll into a normal Barbie review?
Sure. Yeah, let's go.
I guess we just talk about these movies individually, even though they're tough to separate because they're so similar.
I mean, we're pretty much just going to be repeating ourselves, except we're going to have to, like, replace certain actors' names.
Yeah, they're like the same movie.
We're just going to have to, like, go through and post and edit out every time I say Margot Robbie is Cillian Murphy, and that's going to be the Oppenheimer section.
True. But yeah, Barbie. So, like, going into the podcast, I try to plan it out a bit, and this week I put aside for Oppenheimer. I wasn't really planning to look into Barbie. Frankly, like, I wasn't super interested, except that Greta Gerwig was directing, and Greta Gerwig is a very good director, in my opinion, which was the only thing that really intrigued me about the movie. But yeah, and then all of a sudden it seemed like this movie started getting a lot of hype, and it was like, oh, maybe we should do both Barbie and Oppenheimer. So that became the plan for the podcast.
Yeah, I was interested in it, but I was unsure.
Yeah, no.
I had my faith, but I was unsure.
Yeah, yeah, because well, I mean, it's a Barbie movie. It doesn't, like, automatically, it's not like brilliant idea, but it doesn't mean there's no potential in it either. No.
Well, you see the thing. The thing is that I think for the most part, whether or not something's like a brilliant idea is kind of iffy. Really, what went into this for me was Barbie is pretty much a blank slate. Like, yeah, we have things that go along with Barbie, and we have, like, an idea of Barbie, but we don't really have, like, a Barbie story for the most part, except that she has 5,000 jobs, Ken's her boyfriend, and she has family sometimes. And so when I saw that Greta Gerwig was doing it, I was like, cool. I like your palette.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you open up in Barbie Land, and pretty much all the girls in Barbie Land are Barbie, except they have different jobs.
Yes.
I believe the Margot Robbie Barbie, her job was stereotypical. I don't recall if they gave her a job or if she was just stereotypical Barbie.
No, she didn't have a job. She was just stereotypical Barbie, if I remember correctly. Unless, of course, her job is being stereotypical. But
yeah, I don't know how that's a job.
I mean, to be fair, Ken's job, I almost feel, is like more of a job.
True. And Ryan Gosling plays Ken, but he is Beach Ken.
He beaches.
Yeah, he beaches. They established that he's. Like, there's all these Barbies. There's, like, Dr. Barbie, Lawyer Barbie, and then there's Beach Ken, and he beaches. And it's like, are you like a lifeguard? He's like, no.
He stands on the beach.
I beach. I mean, Yeah, it was and that's actually something this movie explores. I actually really like because as you might expect, like in the Barbie world, like there's less Kens, and Ken's purpose is to pretty much be Barbie's accessory.
Yeah.
So
which
he
you
just
may
kind of
notice
there.
reflects certain things in our world, as all of the Barbies have all of the jobs and stuff,
Mhm.
and the Kens exist in association to the Barbies, occupying such important jobs such as standing on a beach.
Yes,
You
yes.
see, you can make a comparison between this and misogyny in our world to some extent. And you can and you should, because that is to some extent what the movie does, although it plays around with it a bit more than that.
Oh yeah, no.
Definitely.
So like the whole Barbie universe is definitely Barbie driven.
It's a matriarchy.
Oh my god, it's so sexist. No, the number of people got triggered over this were kind of funny, and there's a degree it was forced. It's why like Dane and I are going to do a little bit of initiative this Wednesday, even though we were originally planning to take it off, but we were like, we're going to go ahead and cover this because this is weird. The reaction of this, and like a bunch of conservative middle-aged men going to see Barbie and then getting offended by it. I'm like, of course you weren't going to like it. What are you doing?
You see, if you're out of the loop, people think that Ken is like too feminine, and like a famous example of like being like anti like men or whatever, like he's like a simp or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into too much details, but let's just say that I actually think that while at the end of the day they do have, and like, yes, Ken is the gag of a lot of jokes, especially at the beginning and really throughout for the most part. But at the end of the day, they do try to look at him sympathetically. A lot of people try and argue that this movie is anti-man, but I actually, you see, this movie is it's about kind of like feminism and the patriarchy, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, well, I mean,
suppose you could say. I say as though that isn't like explicitly what the movie's about. But
well, I mean, I mean, the movie is about like, I mean, if we get down to the whole themes, it's about individuality and discovering who you are.
Yes.
Most importantly.
Yes. It also talks about other things. Though.
Yeah, I mean, well, and like, okay, so like one of the Barbies here is apparently played by a trans actress. That's getting a lot of people offended.
And
fun
I'm mad.
fact, the character, it's not like a character's trans, it's a Barbie. It's a doll. I didn't know they were trans until later. There's lots of little things about this movie that seem to be triggering people, and I don't understand it. Like, listen, this movie has a good message about how essentially you should discover yourself and be comfortable with yourself, be happy with yourself. That's the message of this whole movie. The fact that so many people are getting offended by it it's weird. It's weird, the backlash to this movie.
Yeah, it's like I feel like we're discussing something that shouldn't be like remotely controversial.
No,
like on any level. Like we can talk about this on the level that you're talking about, with like, you know, the core message being like you should discover yourself and like you should know who you are outside of other people.
Yeah,
which is definitely a big part of this movie. Or we could talk about it with the more upfront story, which is, you know, about feminism and the patriarchy, or I guess even the more upfront story where it's about a bunch of dolls walking around.
Yeah,
but I feel like on none of these levels should this be considered to be a remotely controversial movie, but yet it is.
Yeah,
I think
for some reason.
There are certain people out there. I will not be continuing that sentence.
Yeah, there are certain people out there. I haven't gone over any of the videos yet. I know Ben Shapiro's done like a 45-minute one, and almost all the usual suspects have panned this movie. I'm here to tell you this movie's fun. I enjoyed it. It's pretty damn good. Frankly, it's a good message for kids, and I don't know why people are so offended by it.
I mean, I don't think that like 7-year-olds were their target audience, but
No.
like I think if you showed it to 7-year-olds, they would probably still get like the message of like, you know, accepting yourself as a person.
Yeah,
to some
I mean,
extent,
it's
because I
still
feel like
bright
that's
and colorful. Yeah,
because I mean that's still out there. There's plenty of other stuff, you know, that they might not understand until they get older, or they might understand it now. I don't know what your 7-year-old's like, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna cause any harm to your child.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Well, I mean, maybe your mind was. I want the
My
audience to
mind was
understand
warped.
her mind was warped going in. There was no saving her. It was a lost cause.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe when maybe when we like watch it at home someday in the future, Evan's gonna see it and he's gonna be like, "Oh no, that Ken is not very,
Well,
is not very."
Dusty here brings up a good point because the politics of Oppenheimer are very interesting, and we'll get into those when we talk about Oppenheimer. But yes, the politics and themes of Oppenheimer are much more overt, and they definitely have something to say. Barbie is just kind of a fun, colorful movie that says be yourself and be happy. And yes, it does play with the patriarchy because, apparently people are offended because in the real world of this movie, it is a patriarchy. It is in real life. So
I don't know
that
what
makes
world you live in. Can you please
sense.
transport me? Beam me over.
And then the flip of that is Barbie Land, which is clearly established to be a matriarchy. And then like Ken is kind of set up to be the villain towards the end, where he kind of takes over Barbie Land. But like people seem to think, oh, we're supposed to hate Ken, and actually, no, we're not supposed to hate Ken. Ken is just figuring out his place in the world, and that's part of what the story is about. Ken, I actually thought Ken was entertaining.
Yeah, I thought that Ken was entertaining for the most part, and they tried to, they made him a sympathetic character.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like people saying that Ken being an example of like people hating men is just, it's just media illiterate. Like did you watch how they handled Ken? Like I know that he's the butt of the joke a lot, but like he was still at the end of the day, he was I forgot what words are. He is a sympathetic character. I mean, they talk about him, and the whole reason he does all of these things is just because he doesn't know like who he is, like out of like and not in relation to Barbie.
I mean, they talk about like I did see people criticizing the Ken character for being low T, and it's like, yes,
he tries so hard to be high T though.
Yeah, he does. He tries over hard to be a high T, but like. That's the point. Ken has always been an accessory. And part of the point of this is that Ken needs to find out who he is without Barbie. Because, like, throughout the whole movie, he is desperate to hook up with stereotypical Barbie, and she's kind of not interested. But, like, that's all he knows. It's just, I got to hook up with Barbie, and that's it. And it's about him breaking that. And it's also about her. Like, she also kind of has to figure out that, like, oh, I was kind of a dick to him, too.
Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't have been so much of a dick to him. And also he needs to figure out how to be himself without like getting like so wrapped up over her. It's just, these are just in general decent moral lessons. And the fact that people are offended by them and are so triggered by them is a little scary. It's a little scary.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this is a good, colorful, fun movie. They're like, we're going into lots of the deeper themes and stuff like that. This is primarily a comedy too. There's quite a few moments that had me chuckling quite a bit.
Yeah, we were having a good time in the theater. I'm not used to chuckling that much at movies and theaters.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an idea, they go to the real world, and one of the first things she does is like, there's too many man energy in here. I need some Barbie energy. So she goes to a construction site. She's like, "Where's the Barbies?"
Well, I want to say she was saying like I need to go and I need to find like some girl power somewhere.
Yeah.
Where better than the construction site?
Yeah. It's like
I remember. I just remember when they look up at that billboard and it's like 6 women in like bikinis or something, and they go, "Oh my goodness, it's the Supreme Court."
Yes,
They're so smart.
But yeah, it's a good movie. Solid, worth checking out. Anything you want to add before we go into our Oppenheimer?
I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Oppenheimer's not as like, it's not as much fun, but it's really good. Like this is pure Christopher Nolan. He directs the hell out of this, and I think Patrick Williams recently did a video talking about how like Tenet was kind of a vibes movie, and you could argue this was almost a vibes movie as well, because there's a lot of this movie that's more about like momentum and just like feeling it than actually like necessarily engaging with everything.
Yeah.
Although I do feel like this story is way easier. Like Tenet, like you had to watch, I feel, at least twice to get the full impact of that story.
Yeah,
this one's right out there.
I feel like I understood this movie. I noticed
Oh,
one
yeah.
thing though that I enjoyed about this is, so obviously we talk a lot about quantum physics in this movie,
Mhm.
but because Christopher Nolan knows that we don't know anything about quantum physics,
Mhm.
they used like images and like very like intense like sound and stuff to almost get you to like
Yeah.
understand and be able to visualize what they're talking about.
Mhm.
And I thought that worked pretty well. You know?
Yeah.
Suddenly I know everything about quantum physics.
Yeah, I purely understand quantum physics.
Yes.
Now I think it's worth noting there is a very strong political angle in this.
Yes.
Because a lot of this movie, like this movie is it sets up Oppenheimer to be kind of like a newer, like modern, like obviously it's not a modern movie set in modern time, but like a more modern version of Prometheus, where like he gives him the atomic weapon and then he gets persecuted. However, the movie doesn't make any qualms about it. The reasons he's persecuted is essentially he's a left-winger who's persecuted by a right-wing mob in this movie.
Yeah.
It says that very explicitly. And I think it's interesting how like all the usual suspects are getting so triggered by Barbie, but they're ignoring the clear political message in this one, because this one doesn't even hide its politics. It says them right up front.
Hidden by man.
Yeah.
I can't believe that they cast a woman to star as Barbie.
Well, that's the thing. Like the only reason I can think of why they're charging after Barbie and ignoring the clear politics of this movie is because it is mostly white men in this movie.
It is mostly white
It's
men. That
dominated
is true.
by white men.
I was noticing that while I was watching it. I was like, huh. There are not a whole lot of women in this story.
Yeah,
that
no,
do not
there's-
end up kissing Cillian Murphy.
There's the girlfriend. There's the one wife who I don't know if she had any lines. There's
I wanna say there's like a
there's his
couple
wife
students.
who's Emily Blunt, who's definitely the biggest one. Yeah, there's a couple students, and then
Yeah.
there's the scientist. But like everyone else is like a white guy in this one. But I mean,
White
that's
men.
probably historically accurate.
It
so
is
I'm not
probably
really going
historically
to
accurate.
like. I'm not mad at it, but like I'm just trying to think of like this movie that clearly has its politics like right out there. It's not hiding them at all. Is not getting any attention from the usual suspects. However, Barbie is, which is, I just find it so goddamn interesting that that's
Yes.
the way it's turning out.
I can't believe that they feminized Barbie.
Yeah, it's like that's the biggest thing. It's like, okay, so like Barbie stars a woman and it's making money, so now we have to go after it. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, that is what it. I think that is what it is actually.
Yeah, it's so simple. Like, yeah, this is like, again, like I guess get back to actual like what Oppenheimer's about instead of just the
let's
things
talk
around
about
it.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Oppenheimer.
So, one thing I did notice, there's like titles at the beginning of the movie. I forgot to look up what the titles mean, but I kind of assumed that one title is like leading up to the events, and the other one's concluding the event. But but I will tell you, there's color sections of this movie and there's black and white sections of this movie.
And they're done by perspective.
Yeah. Yes. You noticed that?
Yes.
Yes.
You see, I listen. I have been actively watching movies with you for most of my life.
True,
I know what
true.
visual cues are.
Yeah.
From the second they started switching in between them, I was like, okay, I got to figure out what this means. I'm going to keep on watching and I'm going to analyze this until I figure out what this means. And it was perspective.
Yes. So color sections, which is most of the movie, I'd say at least 80-85% of the movie is
Yeah.
color. And that is from Oppenheimer's perspective. And then the black and white is from Strauss's perspective, Robert Downey Jr.'s character in this movie.
Yes.
Who is at first it's kind of set up that like he seems like he's kind of friendly to Oppenheimer and he's dealing with a lot of stuff.
You know.
Spoiler, he's a jerk.
He sucks.
He's a giant
He's like,
jerk.
listen, this guy, I feel like maybe he might be the reason why some scientists don't like me. And I don't know this for a fact, but I have like this feeling in my gut. I heard that he used to hang out with some communists back in the day.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get him for this one.
Yeah.
That's pretty much his thing.
What's the thing? Like Oppenheimer, like the whole movie is set up like the character of Oppenheimer is he's never a member of a communist party, but like he's friends with a ton of communists.
He
He
out.
has left-wing politics. He was trying to unionize the professors at his college campus, and that was getting all types of people upset. And then, and essentially, like when he got involved with the Manhattan Project and became the director, he started bringing in a whole bunch of scientists who, of course, had to leave the Communist Party to get involved. So, of course, we have a whole bunch of ex-communists that happened to leave to get involved with that project.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it feels a lot like the theme of this movie is left-wingers save the world and right-wingers persecute them for it. I mean, it's kind of what it feels like.
I know the one thing that I was the thing that I thought would kind of make or break this movie for me was, of course, how they handle the atomic bomb. Because you see, the atomic bomb is one of those things where, like, we don't know how long World War II would have lasted if we didn't bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but we did bomb Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
We
and,
did?
you know,
I didn't hear about
we need
that.
to kind of weigh both of those things there, you know,
Mhm.
because, like, we don't know how long the war would have lasted, and that did pretty much end the war, at least for
Mhm.
us. But, you know, a bunch of people did die.
Mhm.
And so you kind of have to weigh both of those things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it was a. You just got real serious.
I'm always, you
Dang.
see, I'm always serious.
Oh, no,
I'm,
no, no. No, it's just like, yeah, no, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they were tragic events
Yes,
that ended World War
absolutely.
II, which is essentially why they were done. So it was yeah, it was it deals with that quite a bit. Like it's like Oppenheimer is someone who supports dropping the bombs. And you know, he explains, you know, why he supports it, but like, you know, there's lots of scientists who are against it because it's like it's fucked up. And there's even the theory that like the bombs will destroy the world. And it's like it seems pretty low, but you know, maybe.
Quantum physics can be funny
Mhm.
sometimes.
But yeah, this is a really, really well done movie.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours long. Doesn't really feel it though.
Mhm.
It's not Barbie though. It's not the same thing.
Are you
So,
sure about that?
I'm fairly confident it's not the same thing. It's really well done Christopher Nolan movie about the creation of the atomic bomb. And he knocks it out of the park. He does a great job. I guess I don't have much to say outside of that other than I just think it's interesting how this movie is so overtly political and like none of the usual suspects care about it because Barbie is making a lot of money and it stars a woman and is directed by a woman. So we gotta get mad at that one, right?
Yeah. It's like, listen, it's not to say that Barbie doesn't hold like any political thing in it, but like,
Well, at this rate, they're making everything political, so I feel like
yeah. But like, you know, Oppenheimer had a lot of communists in it, and you'd think they'd want to go after the communists because that's what they tend to often do. That's like
Mhm.
one of their main insults, even though I doubt a lot of them know what the word communist means, but that's for another day.
Mhm. But yeah, anything you want to add, or should I go into my speech on Witcher?
I mean, I guess we can talk about like we can kind of go back around and talk about like our overall thoughts about like Barbenheimer again.
Well, I
Say
mean,
anything you didn't say before.
I mean, we can hit up on that one right now. Like, what were your overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts, both good. Both
Yeah.
good, but they are for different circumstances. They are both very good movies. But you see, the thing is that they're so similar that I simply cannot pick a favorite because they're practically the same movie.
Well,
However, I will tell you that in my day-to-day life, I think I will probably end up watching Barbie more because you could turn Barbie on at probably any point, you know, and it would just kind of work. Whereas Oppenheimer, I feel like I need to be in like a specific mood for that, you know? Not to say that I wouldn't like still like enjoy it at other times, but like there would probably be more situations where I'd be sitting around and I'll be like, yeah, let's watch Barbie. Then I'd be like, yeah, let's watch Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah, no, I see myself watching Barbie more, and that's like, does that necessarily make it better? I don't know about that, because Oppenheimer is a really well done, really like thoughtful movie. Just how Nolan handles the whole story is really fantastic. I mean, Nolan's just become like a masterclass director, and it's one of those things. Also, I love his Dark Knight movies, but like I feel like visually those movies weren't quite there, and I feel like with this one visually it's there. He's just getting, in my opinion, better at his craft. I wouldn't call this his best movie, but I feel like he's evolving as a director as we go. And he really handles this extremely well. Really good movie. Barbie is fantastic as well. Like I said, I don't know which one I like better than that. That means a lot. Like, obviously, Oppenheimer is the more, well, I want to say Oppenheimer is the more artistic one, but there's artistic value to Barbie too. But it's more of a silly movie, but it's well done silly. So it gets tricky. It really gets tricky. But they're both really good movies, and they're worth checking out. I'm gonna switch over to Witcher now.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna start nodding intently.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have any questions, jump in. And that's, of course, for the chat as well. But yeah, Witcher Season 3, Part 1. I saw this just a couple days ago. So, like, Witcher is a series that I loved. I loved Season 1. I thought it was fantastic. And I thought Season 2 was fine. It was decent. It was enjoyable. I thought Blood Origin was a catastrophe. And, of course, I mean, this is just part of the main series. And this is Season 3 so far is a huge step up from Blood Origin, but it's a so far for a series that typically has more layers to it. This is a very simple story so far. It's just there's a plot against Ciri, and they're trying to train her to be a Witcher and to use her magic, and Geralt and Yennefer, of course, and during part of the series, Yennefer's running away with Ciri while Geralt tries to figure out who's after her. And then eventually they end up meeting up again. And then we have this party. And the party episode at the end, it's fine. But, I guess I could cover that real fast because I didn't even think about that. The Superman thing. Yeah. So Henry Cavill was obviously DC's Superman. And he got re-signed to do Superman stuff again. So essentially, he left Witcher. So, like, this is going to be his last season as Geralt. And then we're getting Liam Hemsworth next season. And then almost as soon as he did that, he did cameo on Black Adam, and they dropped his Superman. So it's like, kind of sucks.
He got they were not fair to him. I
No.
forgot what words are, but they were not fair to him.
No. So we're getting Liam Hemsworth next week because Henry Cavill did a cameo of Superman in Black Adam, which is so lame. But anyways, so like the whole, like the first part of this season, the first 5 episodes, I assumed they released them 5 and 3, so I assumed 5 would be like a big like event, and it kind of was. It was this ballroom episode where we're seeing different perspectives, and I love the different perspectives they show, because we get to see different angles of conversations, how different points of views work. And I think they do that really well. Throughout the whole party, they play the same song on repeat. It's essentially, everything is not as it seems. It's something like that. And it's like, yeah, I get it. And just like every time there's a quiet moment, it repeats that. It's like, I get it.
So what you're telling me is that everything is exactly what it seems.
Yes, everything's exactly what it seemes. Yes, it's very predictable.
You see, I also apply this to my real everyday life, and it always works out well for me.
Yes, it does. But like they build up the first 5 episodes, and then it's like, okay, so they're all assuming Stregobor is the main villain, and as soon as they assume that, I'm like, okay, so it's other people, and I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Because they've been kind of sus most of the season, but like they haven't been obviously villainous this season. So I want to say it's like Triss and then the guy who is Yennefer's ex, and I can't remember what their name is, but they are like, obviously, I think the most telling thing was when they were going through Stregobor's room, and then that one guy just found the book that they needed. He just went right to it. It was just like, yeah, obviously, like, they're in on it. And I think it's interesting how none of the characters seem to pick up on that. And I assumed the end of this like half would be them revealed as the villains, but it wasn't. The end of this half was just Geralt with a knife to his throat in a situation that he's been in like a billion times before. So it's like no threat to him. So it's a little bit disappointing on that angle. But like I'm interested to see where the story goes, but like I said, I'm finding it a bit predictable at this point, and they're still keeping secrets, or it's still kind of obvious that what the secret is. So I'd say so far, this is, unless it picks up in the last 3 episodes, which come out in a few days, season 3 of The Witcher is probably my least favorite season of The Witcher so far, but it's no Blood Origin. I will give it that. Blood Origin was bad. But yeah, so far season 3 is not thrilling me. I would like to see kind of, I'll see where it goes with the last 3 episodes, but yeah, it's fine, but it's not great. Still some good action. There was that, like honestly, probably my favorite episode of this set was one where it was, I want to say the 4th episode, where essentially they just go onto a boat to travel to the island, and there's a monster in the sea, and they don't, like, the captain doesn't want to go across the sea. So they are like, okay, well, I tell you what, you give us passage and we'll kill the monster. And it's just Witchers going after the monster on a boat. And it's like, that's fun. I actually kind of want to see more of that in this series. Just, that was fun. But yeah, just overall this season, not thrilling me. But we will see how it goes. We got the last few episodes coming up in a few days, so hopefully they'll be better. And then yeah, that's all I was going to cover. So in a couple days, you will be joining us for the Star Trek stream.
I will be joining you for the
we will also have Actual Fandom, Nader Tot, and My 2 Cents of Nonsense. We're going to try to do a Star Trek stream every month, kind of build up an audience for that, and it's fun to talk about Star Trek. And this week, we are doing the Star Trek Captain's tier list. We will definitively answer who is the best captain in all of Star Trek history. And if you disagree, it just means you're wrong. You're allowed to be wrong, but it is what it is. We will figure out the objective best list.
Spoiler alert, it's Jellicoe.
Yes, Jellicoe. Edward
It's
Jellicoe.
Jelly Company. It's my permanently based Jelly Company.
Yes. Edward Jellicoe will definitely be number 1. Fuck everybody else. They're like he's S tier and everybody else is down at the bottom. But yeah, yeah, we'll be doing that. And then next week on the podcast, Bobby should be back. And what do we have? Oh, we're going to be looking at the animated movie, TMNT, getting ready for Mutant Mayhem. And then we will, good call. Tim Allen is actually the best captain.
We'll see.
Ooh. So, yeah. So, like, we just got asked the chat, who is the best Star Trek captain? Is it Ed Mercer or is it Sheridan? I can't think of his first name.
Jellicoe.
It's Jellicoe. Okay, it's Jellicoe. But yeah. Oh yeah, we'll cover the last 3 episodes of Secret Invasion, and we'll kind of do that one, and then we'll finally start into Star Trek: Strange New Worlds season 2. I'm excited to see all of those. I haven't seen TMN2 in a long time, and Secret Invasion. I want to see how that wraps up. I know it kind of got spoiled already. Who one of the Skrull was, but it was somebody who I was already kind of assuming was a Skrull when it got spoiled for me. So I was like, oh. Okay, that's what I thought. And then Strange New Worlds, I'm just excited to watch. I've seen like some photos. So are you aware that apparently in this season of Strange New Worlds, they do a crossover of Lower Decks?
That's great.
I kind of want to see that. I kind of want to see that. I'm kind of excited for that.
Incredible.
But yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. Like I said, Thursday we'll be live again. Oh yeah, Wednesday we'll do we'll probably do a shorter initiative stream, but we'll talk about this Barbenheimer situation on there as well, because it's interesting the reaction the Chuds are having to Barbie, especially considering the political angle to Oppenheimer and how they're just kind of letting that one go.
Were you looking forward to Barbie? Were you feeling nostalgic?
I know. Like Ben Shapiro posted that photo. I'm like,
Was Barbie
Were you
ruined for you,
Were
Ben
you rushing
Shapiro?
to Barbie, dude? What?
Did you look at
What?
that movie trailer and think to
What?
myself, I'm gonna have the time of my life, but they better not make Ken anything less than a perfect macho man.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, everybody have fun. Have a good one.
Have fun.
Party on. Party on, Ashlene.
Party on, father.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.